How's it going, guys? Today I just wanted to do a video showing this little custom neck knife design that I came up with. I used to make quite a few of these and sell them at gun shows. I don't get to make quite as many as I used to just because I don't have the time to do them anymore. But I do. The whole point of this video is I just wanted to show you kind of what you can do with some scrap steel. You can make yourself a really cool and beautiful knife with out too much work. There's a little bit of time involved with these, but it's not as hard as people make it out to be to make your own knife. So to give you a story of these are actually made from Sawzall blades. So Sawzall blade is this right here. I'm sure y'all have all seen something like this. And if you're gonna want to do something similar, you're gonna want to go with a demolition blade, which is this style here. It doesn't, brand really doesn't matter too much. What I would make them from were from Linux blades, so Linux Sawzall blades. And as a plumber, I would collect, 10, 15 of those blades a month, just because you use the Sawzall blade, for 2 or 3 days, maybe a week or something like that, and they just go bad. They don't cut like they used to, and most people just throw those things away. I would collect them, and the reason is I would take them home and I would run them on I have a little blank, and I would trace a pattern onto that Sawzall blade, and then I would shape it with a combination of a belt sander and a angle grinder with a metal cutting wheel on it, and turn it into something like this, which would be a blank, which would take probably about 5 minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes at the most, to turn a Sawzall blade into something like this. And then once you have a number of these, you can put a slight edge on here. You don't want to do the whole edge yet. Maybe I would say 80% of the final edge. And you do that again on a belt sander, or you can use a file. But I used a belt sander, a little 1-inch belt sander that I got from Harbor Freight. So you'd put the 80% edge on here. Again, not all the way down to the final edge, but 80% of that. And then you're ready for heat treat. And these are carbon steel. So you heat treat them by raising the temperature up to what's called critical temperature. And at that point, at that temperature is when this metal loses its magnetic properties. So you would heat it up with a MAP gas torch or a propane torch or in some type of forge, and you would periodically run this on a magnet. Once it loses its magnetic properties, it's reached critical temperature, and you quench it in oil, like a motor oil that you run in your vehicle or something like that. But once you do that, your blade is extremely hard once it comes out of that oil quench, and then you temper it back to say run like an oven or something at 400 degrees for an hour, that blade or blades. And you would temper it back to, say, anywhere from 56 to 60 Rockwell hardness. And that's going to give you a really hard edge, but it's not going to be hard enough where it's going to be brittle. But let me get that out of the way. And basically what you're going to end up with is something that looks like this. So this is a neck knife design that I came up with that I really like. You can see this little sheath here. Another thing that's cool with this is it's like a Kydex, but it's not Kydex. This is actually from PVC pipe. So PVC behaves sort of like Kydex, where if you heat it up to a certain temperature, you can form it. And then as it cools, it holds that shape. So you can see I kind of just molded that shape around this neck knife. And then I've got a loop up here that you would run another piece of paracord as a kind of like a necklace and wear it around your neck. And then if you ever needed your knife in a emergency situation, you'd reach up on your shirt, grab this little paracord, grab a lanyard, and rip that out of the sheath, and you're ready to go with the knife. Also, I forgot to mention I did put jimping on that spine here, and I just did that with a little file. But this kind of just gives you an idea, what you can make. This handle here, I've explained it in another one of my videos on a buck knife, but it's leather. So you can see there's leather glued down right there on each side of that steel is leather, and then I would wrap it with hemp and then seal it with a polyester resin, fiberglass resin. But like I said, the point of this video is just to show you that you can take trash that people throw out on a job site or something like that, like Sawzall Blade, which doesn't cost you anything if you pick it up. I mean, someone just threw it away. And then turn it into a knife, you know, with a couple hours of work. And I used to sell these things for 50 to 60 bucks a pop. So really there's no money into it but your time and maybe a little electricity for your oven, but doesn't cost you hardly anything. But I just wanted to do this video to kind of give you guys some ideas. You know, it's always good to hold on to, like, you know, trash pieces of steel like this, particularly carbon steel that you can heat treat, because you can always turn those into blades and knives. Another option you can do, let me get the little neck knife out of the way, is you can, like at swap meets or garage sales, you can find old pieces of steel. Like this here is just like a beast of a blade here. Let me get this little cleaver out of here. You can see the sheath I made for it out of leather. It works good. But this blade here weighs about 25 ounces. It's an old antique cleaver, meat cleaver. And I don't know how old this thing is, but I would guess it's probably early 1900s or something like that. I don't know the exact composition of the steel, but it's a very high carbon content in this steel. But this is another route. I think I paid $2 or $3 for this old cleaver some guy was selling. He had found in a, I don't know, like an old barn or something. Didn't have any handle or nothing, but again, and it covered with rust, just looked terrible. But this one I just left with the patina, and the way you clean up an old piece of steel like this, if it's all rusted out, is just get you an angle grinder, put a wire wheel on there. It can be the twisted wire wheel or just a regular wire wheel, and just buff off all the rust. You just buff it. You don't have to polish this thing. I like leaving them like this because to me this is a prettier blade than just a polished steel. This has patina, which is really pretty. But yeah, use that angle grinder and just knock all the rust off, and then periodically wipe it off with a rag, and then just repeat until you're happy with the finish. And it's going to come out something like this. And it's almost like a bluing. Once you do that, this coloring here is a form of oxidation, and it actually prevents it from rusting. So it's like a bluing. And then again, I just put on a handle here again. The original the cleaver, when I bought it, didn't have any handle. It had rotted off. I'm assuming there's some type of wood on there. But again, I just put some leather and wrapped it with the hemp, which is kind of like, I always do that with my handles. But there's other ways too. You can just glue more wood on there, or go straight leather if you wanted. But anyways, I just wanted to show you guys these blades just to kind of give you some ideas. You know, for this one, $2 or $3. This one didn't cost me anything. You can turn them into really cool blades. You can come up with your own designs, sell them on eBay, or not eBay, I guess, because you can't sell knives, but say like swap meets or gun shows, you can sell them on there. It's a good way to just have some fun, you know, making your own tools, as well as possibly bring you some extra income. Anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to give me a comment down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.